Hello, and welcome to our channel. We're truly excited to have you join us for an incredible journey of exploration and discovery. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into a fascinating and somewhat mysterious subject, the powerful connection between Earth's geological changes and astronomical events. More specifically, we'll be investigating the thought-provoking predictions of Edgar Cayce, a well-known figure in the world of clairvoyance, and we'll be examining how these predictions might relate to a significant celestial event. The solar eclipse set to occur on March 29, 2025. Could this eclipse be the catalyst that sets off the natural disasters Cayce foresaw, including earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and other catastrophic geological events? Could this celestial phenomenon trigger the type of major shifts he predicted in the Earth's crust? Let's explore these possibilities in greater detail as we try to connect the dots between his visions and the unfolding events of our planet. Edgar Cayce, often referred to as the sleeping prophet, was one of the most renowned clairvoyants of the 20th century. His extraordinary ability to foresee future events, offer health guidance, and uncover hidden truths left an indelible mark on the world. What makes Cayce particularly fascinating is the wide range of subjects he tackled in his readings: health, psychology, spirituality, and of course, the future of the planet. In particular, Cayce's visions about the Earth's geological future were some of his most striking, and they have intrigued people for generations. He predicted dramatic shifts in the Earth's surface, ranging from earthquakes and volcanic eruptions to rising sea levels and even changes in the positions of the poles. The areas he highlighted, such as the west coast of the United States, Japan, and the Atlantic Ocean, are all known for their seismic activity. But Cayce also foresaw that the natural upheavals he predicted would not just be random occurrences. They would be part of a larger cosmic cycle of change, with Earth itself undergoing a process of transformation. Cayce's predictions about the Earth are not just about natural disasters. They are about cycles of renewal. He saw a time in the future when the planet would be reshaped through immense upheavals, a process that would be both destructive and transformative. His prophecies paint a picture of a planet in the throes of a rebirth, where the Earth's surface would be dramatically altered and entire coastlines would be submerged or reshaped. He believed that this period of transformation would bring a new era of consciousness and a shift in humanity's relationship with the planet. But Cayce never directly linked these geological upheavals to specific astronomical events like solar eclipses, at least not in the way we might expect today. However, in recent years, researchers and enthusiasts have begun to wonder if there could be a hidden connection between his predictions and celestial events, like solar eclipses. Could these cosmic events be the spark that triggers the catastrophic geological changes he predicted? One of the most intriguing questions that has emerged from this is whether solar eclipses could have a tangible impact on Earth's geological activity. We know that solar eclipses occur when the Sun, Moon, and Earth align in a perfect straight line, creating a temporary shadow on parts of the Earth's surface. But what happens when this alignment occurs, and could it influence the Earth's geological processes? Over the years, some researchers have noticed a correlation between solar eclipses and increased seismic activity. It's a fascinating area of study, and while the scientific community is still divided on whether eclipses can directly trigger earthquakes or volcanic eruptions, there is growing evidence that the gravitational forces exerted by the Moon and Sun during an eclipse may play a role in influencing tectonic plates. Take, for example, the solar eclipse that occurred on August 11, 1999. Shortly after this eclipse, seismic activity in certain parts of the world increased. Similarly, in 2007, The solar eclipse that occurred in August was followed by a noticeable uptick in earthquakes across North America. Then, in 2010, just a few years after the 2007 eclipse, a massive earthquake struck Chile, causing widespread devastation. The connection between these events raises a fascinating question. Can the gravitational forces during a solar eclipse trigger seismic activity? Could the 2025 solar eclipse be the cosmic event that aligns with Cayce's predictions and sets off the earthquakes and volcanic eruptions he foresaw? This possibility has sparked much discussion among scientists and enthusiasts alike. The upcoming solar eclipse on March 29, 2025, has generated a great deal of interest because it will pass over areas that are already prone to intense geological activity. Parts of Africa, South America, and the Pacific Ocean will be directly impacted by the eclipse, and these regions have long been known for their seismic instability. Earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are frequent in the Pacific Ring of Fire, for example, which is an area known for its tectonic activity. The volcanic eruptions in places like Indonesia, Hawaii, and Iceland are just a few examples of the extreme geological forces at work in this region. Could the gravitational pull exerted by the moon and the sun during the 2025 eclipse exacerbate this already volatile environment? Could the eclipse add enough stress to the tectonic plates that it leads to earthquakes or volcanic eruptions? Some researchers believe that the gravitational forces during an eclipse could alter the pressure on the Earth's tectonic plates, causing them to shift or rupture. This additional stress may trigger earthquakes, especially in areas where fault lines are already under strain. The idea is that the alignment of the sun and moon could serve as a kind of cosmic push that is just enough to tip the balance in areas that are already under significant stress. The 2025 eclipse is therefore especially intriguing because it will affect regions like South America, Africa, and the Pacific Ocean, where tectonic activity is already a regular occurrence. If the gravitational pull of the eclipse has any influence on these areas, we could potentially see a rise in seismic events and volcanic eruptions just as Cayce predicted. Cayce's prophecies also mention the possibility of changes in the Earth's magnetic field and shifts in the poles, which could cause widespread climate disruption and further alter the planet's geographical landscape. It's worth noting that the North Pole has been moving at an accelerated rate in recent years, further supporting Cayce's predictions. As the poles shift, we may see dramatic changes in global weather patterns, with some regions becoming significantly colder or hotter and more extreme weather events becoming the norm. This is a topic that is gaining increasing attention among scientists and meteorologists, as studies of the Earth's magnetic field indicate that the planet's magnetic poles are shifting more rapidly than in the past. One of Cayce's most alarming predictions was the possibility of massive tidal waves or tsunamis striking the coastlines of various regions, including the Atlantic coast of the United States. He foresaw that a large-scale tsunami could arise, potentially as a result of earthquakes or volcanic activity in areas like the Atlantic Ocean or the Caribbean Sea. In recent years, the risk of such events has increased, with experts pointing to the ongoing tectonic shifts in the Atlantic and the Caribbean as areas of concern. Rising sea levels, the melting of polar ice caps, and the increasing frequency of underwater earthquakes are all contributing factors to the growing risk of tsunamis in these regions. If we look at the Pacific Ocean, we can see similar patterns of increasing seismic activity, especially in areas like the Pacific Ring of Fire. Volcanic eruptions have become more frequent in this region, with some volcanoes that had been dormant for centuries suddenly waking up and releasing ash, lava, and gases into the atmosphere. Could these eruptions be linked to larger cosmic cycles, as Cayce suggested? While the direct influence of solar eclipses on volcanic activity is still under study, the correlation between cosmic events and seismic activity is intriguing, to say the least. As we observe the ongoing changes in the Earth's geology and atmosphere, it's fascinating to consider how these shifts might align with the predictions made by Edgar Cayce. While it remains uncertain whether the 2025 solar eclipse will act as the catalyst for the events Cayce foresaw, the patterns we are witnessing, more frequent earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and shifts in the planet's magnetic field, suggest that the Earth is undergoing significant changes. The signs are clear. The Earth is not a static, unchanging entity, but a dynamic and living system in constant flux. As we approach the 2025 solar eclipse, it is important to stay informed and vigilant, prepared for whatever challenges the future might hold. We are living in a time of profound transformation, where geological and atmospheric events are becoming more frequent and intense. Whether or not the eclipse directly triggers these shifts, one thing is certain: the world is undergoing significant changes that are shaping our future. Let's continue to explore, learn, and prepare as we navigate these uncertain and exciting times together. Keep an eye on the upcoming eclipse and the potential shifts in our planet's geology. It's a moment that could mark the beginning of a new chapter in the Earth's ongoing story of change. The solar eclipse, set to occur on March 29, 2025, has drawn the attention of countless people around the world, both those who have an interest in astronomy and those who delve into spiritual or prophetic realms. This particular eclipse has stirred up fascinating discussions and theories, some of which suggest that it could herald a monumental shift in Earth's geological history. Among the most notable figures whose predictions seem to be intertwined with this upcoming event is Edgar Cayce, a psychic known for making remarkably specific forecasts about global changes, including seismic activity, climate shifts, and the reappearance of ancient lands. Many of his followers, as well as researchers who examine his prophecies, are increasingly intrigued by the possibility that the patterns of today's world might be pointing to the fulfillment of Cayce's warnings. Could the March 2025 eclipse be the pivotal event he foretold, marking the beginning of drastic planetary changes? The mounting excitement, paired with a sense of mystery, has captured the imagination of those eager to explore the connections between astronomical phenomena and Earth's destiny. Cayce's predictions about Earth's geological transformations were not limited to vague generalizations. He outlined a series of specific events that he believed would unfold, many of which included seismic activity, massive shifts in land masses, and the rise of oceans that would change the face of the Earth forever. These predictions were incredibly detailed, and many have been revisited in recent years as scientists have noted increasing signs of tectonic instability, rising sea levels, and more frequent and intense earthquakes. As the eclipse nears, many who follow Cayce's work are turning their attention to the fault lines he mentioned in his readings. He specifically identified areas such as the Pacific Ring of Fire, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, and the western United States as regions where large-scale earthquakes could reshape the landscape. His vision suggested that seismic shifts along these regions could trigger massive natural disasters, including earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, leading to the transformation of entire coastlines. If the geological activity seen today continues to escalate, some are wondering whether this will indeed be the time when the planet begins to experience the kinds of changes Cayce predicted. To those who believe in Cayce's insights, one of the most significant signs to look for during and after the eclipse is seismic activity, particularly in fault zones like those found along the Pacific Ring of Fire and in the regions close to the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. These areas, which Cayce had singled out, are already showing increased tectonic movement, and many experts believe that the alignment of the planets during the eclipse could trigger a chain reaction of seismic events. Cayce had suggested that the western United States would be particularly vulnerable, with massive movements occurring along the fault lines in places like California, Nevada, and the Pacific Northwest. If his predictions hold true, it's possible that the eclipse will act as a catalyst for these long-anticipated seismic shifts. For those who follow Cayce's work, this may be the moment to closely monitor the state of the Earth's crust, watching for any sudden movements or signs of volcanic eruptions that could signal the beginning of a significant shift in the planet's geology. Beyond seismic activity, Cayce also predicted that solar and geomagnetic events would play a major role in triggering geological transformations. He suggested that the cycles of the sun, including solar flares and geomagnetic storms, could cause disturbances in Earth's magnetic field, which in turn would have far-reaching consequences on the planet's climate and environment. The solar cycle has long been a topic of scientific study, and recent years have seen a notable uptick in solar activity, including an increase in solar flares and geomagnetic storms. Cayce's readings about the sun's role in triggering natural disasters seem particularly relevant now, as the intensity and frequency of solar events continue to rise. According to Cayce, these solar disturbances would not only influence weather patterns, but could lead to more extreme climate conditions, including heat waves, hurricanes, and intense storms. This could set off a chain of events that disrupts ecosystems, agriculture, and infrastructure, potentially accelerating the environmental changes that have already begun. In Cayce's vision, these solar disturbances were linked to rising sea levels. He predicted that the rising of the oceans would inundate low-lying coastal regions, causing widespread flooding and the disappearance of entire cities. As the planet warms and polar ice caps melt, scientists today are increasingly concerned about the effects of rising sea levels. The connection between solar cycles, climate change, and rising seas is not one that many experts dismiss lightly. If ocean currents begin to shift, or if significant water level rises are recorded in the coming years, this could be seen as a direct reflection of Cayce's vision of a transforming world. Coastal cities like New York, Miami, and New Orleans, which Cayce mentioned in his prophecies, may begin to experience the early signs of what could become catastrophic flooding. The potential for the ocean to creep inland and alter the shape of the coastlines is more realistic now than ever, and as the 2025 eclipse approaches, the world is watching to see if these predictions become reality. A particularly fascinating aspect of Cayce's forecasts involves the idea of the lost city of Atlantis. He spoke frequently of the ancient civilization that, according to his visions, would one day be rediscovered. He believed that portions of Atlantis were submerged beneath the ocean, and that, as the Earth's tectonic plates shifted, some of its ruins would rise again. Cayce mentioned the area around Bimini in the Bahamas, where submerged structures resembling ancient ruins have been discovered. Some researchers and spiritual believers have suggested that the changes in ocean levels caused by rising seas could cause more of these submerged structures to emerge. If the sea levels continue to rise, as Cayce predicted, it's possible that more pieces of this ancient civilization could surface, providing tangible evidence for those who have long believed in the existence of Atlantis. The idea that these ruins could reappear in the near future has become a point of fascination for many, especially as the eclipse approaches and the possibility of global changes grows more imminent. Cayce's predictions also painted a picture of widespread coastal flooding, with major cities along the eastern United States, including New York, Connecticut, and cities in Florida and Louisiana, sinking beneath the waves. He foresaw entire regions of the southeastern United States disappearing as the waters rose. These prophetic visions seem particularly poignant today, as scientists warn of the imminent danger posed by rising sea levels and extreme weather events. Cayce also predicted increased seismic activity in the Caribbean and South Pacific regions, which he believed would signal the coming of more significant global changes. If these areas experience large earthquakes or volcanic eruptions in the wake of the eclipse, it could be seen as a direct confirmation of Cayce's forecasts. The possibility of massive natural disasters reshaping the Earth's landscape is no longer just the stuff of prophecy. It is a growing concern among environmental scientists and experts. Despite the skepticism that surrounds Cayce's prophecies, his detailed predictions about land masses shifting, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions continue to captivate many. The eclipse of March 2025 seems to align with some of the geological and environmental shifts that Cayce foresaw. While he did not specifically link his visions to this eclipse, the celestial alignment that will occur on that date has raised the question of whether the event could serve as a catalyst for the kinds of changes Cayce described. As experts continue to monitor the increasing seismic activity, the rising sea levels, and the intensifying solar activity, some believe that the cosmic event of the eclipse may be the trigger that sets everything into motion. Whether or not one believes in prophecy, it is undeniable that Earth is undergoing significant changes. The movements of celestial bodies and the forces that shape our planet's geology are interconnected in ways that scientists are only beginning to understand. As we approach the eclipse, it is worth reflecting on the potential influence that cosmic events may have on Earth's future. Cayce's visions may be more than just a series of eerie predictions. They could offer insight into a deeper understanding of the forces that govern our planet and the universe. While the truth of Cayce's prophecies may never be fully known, the eclipse serves as a powerful reminder that change is inevitable. The Earth is constantly evolving, and as we face the challenges of rising seas, shifting land masses, and extreme weather, it is essential to stay informed and prepared. The world will be watching as the eclipse unfolds, hoping to understand whether the changes that Cayce predicted will come to pass, and if so, how we can adapt to this ever-changing world. Let's remain vigilant and open to the possibilities, ready to face whatever may come. Together, we can navigate the uncertainties of the future and ensure that we are prepared for the changes that lie ahead.